Okay, so we're about to begin our tutorials. Welcome everyone once again. It's 2D animation Jumpstart beginners level part 2. So in this class we're going to talk about the 12 principles of animation. In the previous tutorial we discussed about introduction to After Effects and getting familiar with the user interface. But in this class, we are going to discuss about the 12 principles of animation. Okay, so let's begin. Motion graphics or animation has to do with some principles that guides you in your manipulation of your animation. You have to understand these principles. Basically, there are 12, which are 1. The squash and stretch, ease in and ease out, anticipation, pose to pose, the arcs, overlapping action, timing, staging, and exaggeration. So we are going to take this one by one. And to do this, I believe everyone has registered, and if you're registered, you have access to the resource materials which we are going to use today for this tutorials. So you have the resource materials downloaded into your system, then we should begin. So we have to go to our project tab here and we import one of our resource materials. And first we have to go to, we are taking our project files from our Adobe Illustrator right here. So now this is our Adobe Illustrator. This is our resource material 2D animation Jumpstart, which you would have installed Adobe Illustrator in your system and opened this file. Now once you open this file, you see this display, and you see a flower, pot, balls, and these vehicles. I'm going to use this I call them props and illustrations to understand the 12 principles of animation. So if you go to this tab here, this panel here named layers, you can see it's named layers. You click on it, you see your different each layer, each object on the canvas has its own layer. It has been already arranged for you. You have your flower, your ball 1, ball 2, ball 3, your car 1, 2, and 3, and shadows. So as shadows turn off and turn on. Okay, so the first thing we have to do, we will just go into, we have to select one of these vehicles. I'm just saying to prepare ourselves for the animation we're about to do. Select one of these vehicles and we would go in, and going in, click on the drop down menu. You will see the components of that layer. Now you can see there are 2 tires here. What we are going to do is to just take this create new layer button, click on it, take those tires up, drag them up to the new layer we created, and we name this tires. Now why we are doing this is to separating it from the vehicle so that we could be able to animate it in our demonstration. So now we would save this file, go to file, save this anywhere, save files, let's save it at okay, yeah, it's saving for 6%. Okay, that file is saved now. So we'll go back to our After Effects and we'll proceed to import our Adobe Illustrator file. So click on File, go to Import, click on File. Then go to where you saved it. In my own case, it's under Documents AI. Okay, and we have here, this is 2D animation Jumpstart 2, that's the file. When you're importing an Illustrator file, you have to choose between footage and composition. So the option to choose is your composition, not this one, this one. Composition retain layer sizes. You choose that. You click off this sequence. You don't need it in sequence, and you just click on import. Okay, good. It has imported that layer. It's now displaying on your project panel. Okay. It's now displaying in the project panel. So you click on the composition that has been created, double click on it, it's open up here, and there you have it in your After Effects. Now you have this file in your After Effects. So now we have two compositions on our timeline. We have this one having the principles of animation, and we have our Adobe Illustrator composition that has been imported. So now you have to change the background color, the default background display from black to white. To do that, you can go to Composition, Settings, and you change it, or you just press Ctrl K. That's the shortcut from K. Then you have the settings right here. You click on this background color, change it to white, and you press OK. Okay, we're good to go. So let's start. Principles of animation now. The first principle of animation has to do with squash and stretch. Squash and stretch. Now, what is squash and stretch? We all know what the meaning of the words mean. What the words mean, to squash something, and to stretch something. Let's take one of our objects here in our Jumpstart panel, and Jumpstart composition. Let's see ball 1. Okay, I'll single out ball 1. Okay, good. So to single out an object in your timeline, you see this column here called solo. Now this solo, you can solo or single out any object on your timeline by clicking the solo section here. You can solo your flower, any other aspect, maybe the car, one of the cars, so that will help you to work directly on that object without having the distraction of the others, to just hide the others for you. Okay, so let's move on. We solo our ball next, and it's hanging a bit. Okay, let's move on. We solo our ball next, and for you to toggle on your markers, you have to press Shift Ctrl H, and that's the shortcut to toggle on or off your markers. Now see, the marker has displayed on the ball, showing you that this ball is being selected. Now if I go back and also check on any other objects, you see the marker displays. Now the marker on the ball, to toggle it off, you can press Shift Ctrl H, and it goes on and off. Now you have this. We take our ball down. We are going to demonstrate what we mean by squash and stretch. Now a ball is a bouncy object that, assuming we can say someone has thrown this ball up, and the ball is expected to bounce down on the ground following the laws of gravity. So let us assume that this is our plane. We create a new shape layer. Let's create a new shape layer now. We go to this rectangle, click on it, and you have that star by the cursor mark. You just create a shape layer there, easy nice. Now one of the plugins which we name our shape layer floor, just enter to name it floor. Okay, good. Now if you look at it, anchor point, this marker that is being shown here is called anchor point. Now anchor point of this floor is not at the middle where it's supposed to be. Now traditionally you can just go to your tools bar here and you click on this. This is called behind anchor point tool. You click on it, or the shortcut is letter Y on your keyboard. You click on it, you drag your anchor point down here. Okay, then we move to our align tab here. You click on it and we click align horizontally, and it's in the middle. Then we now take this floor a little bit down to the bottom of our composition like this. Okay, then one other thing, we have to define the color. Let's just put this as let's put this color. Okay, and put our stroke color to be the same thing. Okay, put our stroke color to be the same. Okay, that's nice. So we have defined our floor where the ball will bounce. Now, principle of squash and stretch means as this ball is bouncing, let's assume we have a starting point. To select the position of the ball, you press P, you click on it. At your timeline, you see I dragged my timeline from this is measured in seconds down to 45 seconds. So I go to at 0 seconds. Let me zoom in so you see what we're doing. Okay, go at 0 seconds. To zoom in and out, you do this. This is zoom out, this is zoom in. Yeah, so you zoom in. Now we place a keyframe. I mentioned what keyframe is then in the previous class. So to start keyframing your position of this ball, you see this stopwatch icon that is just by the position here. You click on it and it will insert a keyframe on the timeline. So that has already started. That's the position of the ball. Then we move forward to like 1 second. Okay, that is a 1 second. I zoom in, you see that is 1 second. Yeah, 1 second. Yeah. So we move forward to 1 second. Then we move our ball position. We have this is your horizontal and this is your vertical axis. This is horizontal axis, this is x axis, this is vertical axis, y axis. So we bring it down the y axis, let it get close to the floor like that. So bring it down to the y axis, let it get close to the floor like that. Then let's now discuss this squash and stretch. An object in animation does not move like this and just land on the surface of the floor like that. It doesn't work in real life situations like that. So the movement of a ball when it's bouncing involves squashing and stretching. It may be invisible to the eyes, but what this ball is supposed to, how the ball is supposed to behave, as it gets to the before it hits the point, before it hits the floor, like here, it's supposed to compress itself vertically before having impact on the floor. Then the period when it would bounce up back a little bit, the ball bounces after hitting on the floor is expected to bounce up and down before finally settling down. So it will now stretch. Once it hits, it compresses here, hits the floor, it will stretch a bit, go up, come down, go up, come down. So we have to do that by traditional methods before I show you one of the tips of animating doing such an animation of a bouncing ball. Okay, so once it hits there, you can move 3 frames forward. How do you move your frames? You go to your preview. This is next frame, previous frame, these 2 buttons. So you click here, you move 1, 2, 3. That is three frames forward, and then you now take your ball Y direction, you take it up a bit. So I said it's supposed to bounce up a bit. Okay, then you move 3 more frames, 1, 2, 3. Let me zoom in so you see what we are doing. Okay, move 3 more frames like this. Let's go back. You copy the previous keyframe that touched the floor, you copy it and you paste here. You move it 3 more frames again. I'm using the shortcut Ctrl and forward arrow. That is how you move using the shortcut. Then this time around, you take it up, but not up to the previous height. You carry it like this. Okay, so let's see how that is. On this one, let's toggle on our ruler guidelines. We bring our ruler guidelines here. Okay, this is where the ball hits the floor. It bounces up once, comes down, and goes up once. Now the second time it goes up, it will not get to that previous one because the velocity is decreasing. So you bring it up, bring it down a bit. Then you move 3 frames forward again, 1, 2, 3, and you still paste your impact frame. Now, going back to the squash and stretch, say before it gets to the impact point, let's see how that plays first. Okay, so this is the animation we have done so far. Let's see, it hits. Okay, but now we said before it gets to this impact point, the ball is supposed to squash. How do we do that? So we press S on our keyboard to bring up the scale properties, and we go to our beginning of our position, the 0 second. We add a keyframe. We press U on our keyboard to bring out all the keyframes of the ball. We move forward, take to the next keyframe of position. We add another keyframe for scale. Now we move backward 2 times. 1, 5. Okay, we move backwards twice like this. Okay, at this point we want our ball to squash. How do we do that? If you look at our indicators around the ball, you see that the anchor point is centered at the middle. That being said, we can come to our scale, click this constraint, remove this constraint so that we can adjust our scale in Y and X position without affecting each other. So we go to our Y scale and we reduce it a bit like this. Let me turn off the toggle, see what we are doing. We use it to like 80. Now you see the ball has squashed, and this is what we want. We want it to squash itself. Now at the middle, at half of the frames, I explain what I mean by frames and frame rate, frame per second. Now this is frame rate per second of this convolution is 24. So you have 24 frames, and after each 24 frames, the After Effects reads it as 1 second. So at the 12th frame, frame 12, yeah, we want our ball to still be at 100, not squashed. It should be full, okay? But before it gets to hit the floor at 18 frames, we want our ball to be 100 on the y-axis, but it should be stretched. So we put it at 80 on the z-axis. So it should be like that. Then it should squash itself as it hits this. Now we adjust this at this impact point at 1 second. Since it's now squashed, we take it down so that it should actually have contact with the floor like this. That's good. So as we move ahead to the next point where the ball bounces up, you see we have, since it's bouncing up, we don't need it to be squashed anymore. So we have to change our values, we make it to be stretched, put 80 on the x-axis and say 90 on the y-axis. Coming down to the next point here, we copy our squash scale and paste it there again, and we take it down, let it have contact to the floor, and move forward again. It's going to stretch once more. So you see now as it's bouncing, it's coming down to a stage of inertia where it will no longer stretch or squash the last before it settles down. So the degree of squashing and stretching has to reduce. So we are no longer taking 80, we say 90 or say 95, and we keep this at 100. Okay, we move down one more. It has come to the end of, this is the point where it's going to have to come to rest. It will no longer bounce anymore. So this will not be 95 anymore, we'll have it at 100. Please, I hope you guys are following. You could ask questions as you move after the tutorials. So this is a simple example of squash and stretch. Now let's play now you have this. Now you see this. You see how the ball bounces now? It squashes and stretches. Now I want to duplicate this, and to duplicate that I pressed Ctrl D, or you could just click on your ball, right click, or go to edit and click duplicate, or you press Ctrl D. Now in this one I'm going to press U to bring out all my keyframes, and I'm going to delete all our scale properties that we just added, so you could see the difference in squashing and stretching amongst them. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. We would hide our ball 1 and we play this. This is an animation without squashing and stretching. This is an animation without squashing and stretching. Okay. Okay. Now this is the one that we had added squashing and stretching. Okay. So that's that about squash and stretch. Now the second principle of animation is ease in and ease out. Ease in and ease out. Now before we do this ease in and ease out, I want to show you one tip about squashing and stretching here. Okay. So if you look at this animation, we animated everything using the traditional method. Now we go back to our ball 4 and we go to our first impact point at 1 second, and we delete every other thing at the other end, and we keep our scale 100 100. Okay, so we hide our ball 1, we bring up our ball 4, and we adjust the position to make sure it's having impact on the floor like that. So now I want to show you one tip we use. One of the plugins you get is called EZ Inertia, which you would have gotten if you already started. And this EZ Inertia, it will help you to easily avoid the stress of doing all this, the bouncy effect of the bouncy effect, not the squash and stretch, the bouncy effect of this ball. Now in your ball 1, I'm not talking about the squash and stretch of the scale right now. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is as the ball moved up and down before settling in. So let's do that. In our ball 4 now, what we do is we select our position keyframes like this, as I just, you know how to highlight and select this position keyframes. You go to your EZ Inertia, you click on P for position, move it from composition to layer, you press on apply. Now you go back to your composition animation, and then let's play to see how it's. So you take this scale off, now you press play, let's see. Now we could increase, if you go to your effect control panel, you could increase the intensity, the amplitude to like 5, 3, and you keep this at 4. And let's play once more to see how it goes. You see, without setting keyframes for the bouncing of the ball at this point, it actually bounces on its own. Do you notice? It bounces on its own. This is where we stopped our keyframe, but it still bounces on its own. Now for the squash and stretch, you have to use your skill to adjust it like we just did. So let's move on. We have ease in and ease out. Now this is a ball that is assumed is falling off from a height right now. So assuming we are not using a ball that is falling down from a high platform. Let me say a ball that is being kicked. So I'll hide this column here hides video from the composition. You can use it to hide any objects or video from the composition. So you hide our ball 4 and ball 1. You hide our ball 4 and ball 1. Then we go to our ball 2 and we solo our ball 2. Good. We bring up our toggle, shift Ctrl H, we drag our ball 2 down here. Okay, we also solo our floor because we need it. We bring our floor down here, place it right here. Okay, so we hide our toggle. Let's see clearly. Now assuming this ball, we go to our 0 position, our 0 second, click P for position, we add a keyframe for the ball, we go to 1 second, which is this, I'll add a second keyframe for the position, and we drag our ball to the left by dragging on the values of the x-axis of the position. Drag it like this, keep it down there. Okay, so this is our ball and it moves from the right to the left. Now the way it moves is so mechanical, it's not realistic the way it's moving. It's moving kind of rigid. Now we need to apply the principle of ease in and ease out. We need to apply the principle of ease in and ease out. Now this principle of ease in and ease out means Newton's law of motion says what? An object that is in motion will not stop until affected by another object. Yeah. So before this ball is supposed to just move, it cannot just pick up itself and move. It must ease into the movement. It must ease into the movement. So to add that ease in and ease out, you can click on these two. You highlight the position keyframes. You come here and you go to your graph editor. Now once you click on this icon graph editor, you have this. But this, you have different options here. If you right click here, you'll be having speed graph and value graph. Now before you have to edit if it was a value graph like this, you have to change it to speed graph. Now going back, we still highlight these keyframes. We right click here, we go to keyframe assistant and we click on this called easy ease. Now once you click that, you now go into your graph editor like this. You have your keyframes having this curve now. Now you can highlight these curves and you drag any of these anchors like this. Okay, so let's say we drag this one this way to the middle like this. Let's keep this one like this and take this one down. Okay, so now let's play the animation. To play, I've been playing using the tab button, spacebar. So you just press your spacebar and the animation will play. Now if you can see, it started slowly, it eased into the animation and it's picks up, and at the end it became a little bit slow. Now if I go back into our graph editor and we make one more changes, we shift it like this, shift this one like this, okay, come down here, and you see how it moves, slow, fast, slow. Okay, so let's duplicate our board 2, Ctrl D. In our duplicated board 2, which is board 5, you click on highlight the position keyframes, right click on it and remove our easy ease. Right click on it and remove our easy ease. But you just press, you hold Control on your keyboard and you click on the keyframes like this. So you have removed it. Now let's play. We have one of the balls having easy ease and ease parts. The other one doesn't. So let's play and we'll see how. Take this one. Let's move this one upward like this. And let's see. Okay, let's see what is happening here. We have this. Okay, so let's play it again. So you see how the one we added easy is, it eased into the animation. It moves slowly in, while the one without easy ease just moves uniformly. Then at the middle, the board 2 picks up with speed, exceeds that, and finally comes to rest. Is that is easy ease in easy parts. So the next principle of animation we have to talk about is it has to do with anticipation. It has to do with anticipation. Now what do we mean by anticipation? Anticipation has to do with the word itself, to anticipate an action before it happens. To anticipate the action before it happens. So let's quickly do that before we move on to let's quickly use one example. Now if we are to use our flower pots right here, we then solo our flower pot. We put on our toggle, shift Ctrl H, come down here, and then we increase our scale for it to be visible, or we zoom in. To zoom in, just hold your alternate and you move your mouse. Yeah. Okay, so these are flower pots. I want to use anticipation on this. Now there is a tool I use to set my anchor points without using the traditional method of pressing Y, choosing your anchor point tool and dragging to set anchor point. You may not actually get, because I want to set it at the bottom, you may not actually get it at the bottom. So however, one of our resource materials is a plugin, or a plugin there that helps us to set our anchor points along the corners of this toggle, these corners that is even highlighted there, and it's called the EZ tool. Now this EZ tool here, we can set our anchor points to the center, down, left, right, or anywhere. So what we do now is to set our anchor point to center. No, let's put it at the bottom. Yeah. So we go to our flower, we click on our position, set a keyframe there. Now we are talking about anticipation. How do you anticipate, apply the principle of anticipation in your motion graphics or animation job you do? So let's adjust screen. Okay, good. Now we bring our floor in to the composition. So using our floor, we take our flower down to have contact with our floor. Okay, that's good. So we set the keyframe at the 0 second here, we move to 1 second, and we would take our flower down, drag it to the left like this, not so far, somewhere here, stop there. Okay, so that is 7. It doesn't have to be accurate or whatever, you can just drag it, give it a little bit distance. Okay, so that's that. We now have to see how it is before we add the effect of anticipation. Anticipation has to basically do with, we know this flower pot is going to move to the left. Well, what can you do to show an anticipated movement? Let it be that the viewer is anticipating, is seeing that this flower pot is about to move, because as it moves like this, it just moves on its own. Okay. Okay, let's see how we can do that. Now to do that, I will show you one of the tools in the toolbar here. We are going to use it, and this tool is called the puppet tool. I have to bring up our toggle back again for us to see. Now this is puppet tool. Now if you click on this tool, we can use it to set pins on this our flower pot that will help it to control its not really movement, its reactions. Now I have clicked on close to the bottom to set our first puppet pin. I will also take the puppet pin again, zoom in. To zoom in, you hold your alt and you're using a mouse that has a cursor, that has a rolling keypad. You hold your right click, your middle button in like this. Click this, place your puppet pin in the middle, then you zoom out. You need one more, place it at the top like that. Okay, good. We go back to our selection tool. Now what has happened on our flower pot? If you press U to bring up all the keyframes, you now see 3 puppet pins, puppet pin 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so now we need to anticipate this movement. So we bring back our position keyframes, you click it here or you highlight them, you move them to the right like this. That is 6 frames forward. Let it be the first ones at 6 frames forward. Okay, then the last one should be at frame 1 second and 6 frames. Okay, so in between the first frame to the 6th frame, we need to add our anticipation. Let it be that this flower shows anticipation before movement. Now to do that, these are puppet pin they have been set. You click on this, you highlight this, not click, you highlight this puppet pins, press Ctrl, or you go to edit, copy, then we come to our 6th frame, you press edit, paste, or Ctrl V. I paste it here, the same position it is. Then we can go down to the beginning, to the starting of our composition. Now this puppet piece that is showing yellow, they can be moved. If you click on this and drag it like this, you can see the flower follows the direction of which I bend it to. That is like a puppet. Okay, that's why it's called puppet pin. Are you seeing this now? Okay, so I will press Ctrl Z to set it back to the default position. So we want this to be, this is the beginning, then before it moves, this should move back where the beat, then forward, then the flower pot will now move. Now I'll come to the 3rd frame. At this 3rd frame here, I will now take this backward like this. I'll take this like this. Okay. Then at this frame here, I will shift these ones further to frame 9. I shift it to frame 9. I'll come back to frame 6. I would now adjust this one. Oh, sorry. I'll adjust this puppet pin, this top one, forward like this. Bring this one backward a little bit. Okay, this is just a demo, but this is what we want. Okay, so let's see how that goes. I'll take this to frame 12. Yeah, leave it at frame 12. Okay, so one other thing we're going to do is to go highlight this position. We go to our EZ inertia. Remember we said this is one of the plugins. We go to layer and we click on apply. Go to position, layer, and apply. Go back to our Jumpstart and we now play to see how it is. Now, so basically what we are trying to do is anticipate the movement. It moves back a bit, and the point it moves forward. Okay, I think at this point, yeah, we take our position keyframes back to frame 3. So yeah, I think it's better. So it moves back a bit, then uses that force to propel itself to the left. That is the anticipation we're talking about. That is an example of anticipation. So let's zoom in to see. Okay. So that's anticipation for you. There's nothing more to add to that. So the next one, oh yeah, almost up to an hour. Let's discuss the pose to pose or straight ahead, then with we stop here to the next part. So the next one is your pose to pose principle of animation. Mind you, we are doing 9 of them. We are not going to discuss the secondary action and solid and appeal. They are not necessary in our training now. Okay, so for the pose to pose action, pose to pose, what does it mean? It literally means let me hide that flag. It literally means moving or animating your you're doing your animation by setting the start frame and the key frames, the main frames itself. For instance, the way we animated that ball, to this one we are going to use ball 3 as an example. Okay, toggle off, hide our toggle, take this guidelines off. Okay, so yeah, if you add a position for ball 3 here and we move, this is our first start animation pose. If we move 1 second forward and we now set our end animation pose, that is what we do by pose to pose. So we are telling this ball start from here and end here. Okay, that's pose to pose. Then straight ahead means, okay, for this pose to pose, sorry, any other thing you want to do in the, you can add, you now start adding them in the middle. Now this first one, these first poses that is being set are called the key frames. Key frames. Then after that, you now start adding your extremes. Extremes mean the highest or lowest point at which this ball is going to move. The highest or lowest point at which this ball is going to move. So, for instance, if this ball is going to move in this direction, let's say our extreme should be here. This is our highest extreme. You get. Now, after adding your extremes, your in-betweens means you may add in-between poses here, and you decide to press our arrow button for rotation and rotate our ball like this. That is our in-between. You get. So toggling a keyframe for rotation, we go back to here and we set our rotation back to 0. So we go to our ball, press U to bring up all the keyframes. Now you have this animation like this. Our ball moves up, comes down. Ball moves up and comes down. So let's bring this down to the middle of the screen so you could see what's happening. Okay. So our ball moves up and comes down. So that is pose to pose. You set your keyframes, you add your in-between, your extremes, then you add your in-betweens. That is in between your keyframes and extreme, you add in-betweens. Now the second method of animation is called straight ahead. Straight ahead means if I'm to duplicate the ball, now you hide the other one, this, bring up, toggle up our keyframes, add yeah, okay. We'll add the first keyframe in position. These are first position. Straight ahead means, I would say at frame 12, I will now set, I want this ball to be like this. I've not set the end point, I'm just animating along as I move. I'll come to this place, I'll say I want this ball to move like this and move like this. That is straight ahead animation. Come to this other keyframe here and you say you want this ball to move like this and move like this. Then you go to the end and you say you want this ball to come down, move like this. Okay, so if you play this back again, you see, so the major difference between pose to pose and straight ahead is this. Pose to pose is good when you want to be in control of your animation. You want to define each position and pose of your animation to be in control of it. But straight ahead is used when you want random motion. You're not defining exact positions, you just want to create a random movement. So you don't need to start defining your beginning and end point of your animation. You just move along as the spirit leads. That is straight ahead animation. Okay, so let's stop here for today. But we still have one practice. We have one practice animation to make, which we are going to. Next class, we are going to do that separately, but in the next class we still have acts, overlapping action, timing, staging and observation to deal with. So let's take our practice class, our practice lesson next. Okay, so see you guys, and don't forget to follow our social media handles: Facebook, Instagram, at Fair Arts. Also our YouTube page, follow us at Fair Arts. Thank you. See you guys next class.